Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are unpacking a moment that it really feels like a genuine pivot point in the automotive world.
Mm,
Usually when we talk about legacy manufacturers making the big switch to electric, it's all about the luxury giants or those tech startups.
right, the ones promising to reinvent the wheel. But today we're talking about Suzuki,
Exactly.
the brand that practically invented that small, rugged, go-anywhere car. For a long time, they've been, let's say, relatively quiet on the full EV front. They were mastering the hybrid game.
But that silence just broke in a very big way.
It certainly did.
They are finally putting all their chips on the table with their first ever global mass production battery electric vehicle. It's called the e-Vitara.
Or, if you're in the Indian market, the Maruti Suzuki e-Vitara.
Right.
And is a massive moment for them. So to really get a handle on this, we've pulled together a pretty diverse stack of sources.
A global car needs a global perspective.
Exactly. We aren't just looking at the glossy brochures. We've got the official global press releases from Suzuki in Japan, from the big unveil in Milan, but we've also cross-referenced that with some very specific market analysis from HT Auto in India.
And that Indian report is crucial. I mean, it breaks down the trim levels in a way the global release was just a bit vague on.
It does. And then to round out the technical side, we've pulled specs from European reports like Automobile.eat and Movio Telepass. So we're really triangulating this car from 3 continents.
Okay, so our mission today is to cut through the marketing speak, and Suzuki has given us some fantastic marketing speak to chew on.
Oh, they have?
And just explain clearly what this car actually offers. We're going to decode the battery strategy, this new Ultra-P technology, and figure out where it fits in a world that is, frankly, already pretty crowded with electric SUVs.
Let's do it.
Okay, since you brought it up, I have to start with the marketing speak, the concept name. Suzuki calls the philosophy behind this the emotional versatile cruiser.
It certainly paints a vivid picture, doesn't it?
It sounds a bit like a dating profile for a car. I'm emotional, versatile, enjoy long cruises. But jokes aside, this is the production version of that EVX concept we saw a while back, isn't it?
It is, yeah. If you remember the EVX from the Auto Expo 2023, it was a very bold, very boxy statement. The e-Vitara is the reality of that.
So what does emotional, versatile cruiser actually mean?
Well, it might sound a bit fluffy, but it signals a strategic shift.
Mm.
Suzuki is trying to say, we aren't just making a utility appliance here, we're making something that triggers a feeling.
And they describe the design theme as high-tech and adventure, which to me sounds like they're trying to bridge two opposing worlds.
Also,
Well, high-tech usually means sleek, aerodynamic, maybe a little fragile. And adventure implies big tires, mud, getting scratched. Can you really do both?
well, looking at the design language, they are certainly trying to thread that needle. It's got a very robust SUV silhouette. This is not that teardrop shape we see on so many EVs.
Yeah.
We are talking about large diameter tires, 18 or 19 inch, and a very long wheelbase.
And that wheelbase is key. For those tracking specs, the car is about 4.28 meters long, but they've pushed the wheels right to the corners.
Exactly. And visually, that makes the car look planted and tough. But structurally, and this is the crucial part, it's all about the platform. This car is built on something called Heart 8.
Heart-Teat. It sounds like a medical device.
It does a bit, but it's their new dedicated EV architecture.
And that word dedicated is the most important thing for a buyer to understand.
It is. A lot of early EVs were just gas cars with the engine ripped out and a battery shoved in. It's a compromise.
You get those weird humps in the floor.
Right. This platform is designed from the ground up for electricity.
So what's the actual benefit for the person sitting in the driver's seat?
Space and capacity.
Hmm.
Because they don't have to work around a transmission tunnel or an exhaust, they've eliminated the underfloor members. That lets them maximize the battery capacity right under the floorboard.
Bigger battery, more room inside.
And because the overhangs are short, you get a much more spacious interior in a compact footprint.
The classic TARDIS effect. I mean, let's talk dimensions, though. 4.28 meters long. That puts it squarely in the compact SUV segment.
It does. It's about 1.8 meters wide, but the number that really stands out to me, especially for buying into the adventure part, is the ground clearance.
Yeah, I saw that. 180 millimeters.
Right, 180 millimeters. That is legit. That's not a hatchback on stilts.
Nah.
That's enough to handle some rough trails or, just the nasty potholes in the city without scraping the bottom.
It validates the Vitara nameplate, doesn't it?
It has to earn the badge.
And despite that height, the turning radius is 5.2 meters, so it keeps that Suzuki nimbleness. It's tough, but not a tank.
Exactly. All right, so we've got the look And the skeleton, the hard XD platform. Now, let's talk about the heart, the batteries.
Yes.
This is where it gets really interesting. Suzuki has opted for LFP batteries.
Lithium-iron-phosphate, that's a distinct choice from the NMC batteries we see in a lot of sort of high-performance EVs.
A very deliberate choice. They're sourcing these from BYD, who is arguably the world leader in LFP tech.
And my understanding is the trade-off is usually energy density. They're a bit heavier for the same power, but the upside is longevity and safety.
You're exactly right. LFP's much more stable thermally, it's harder to get them to overheat, and they tend to handle more charge cycles. For a versatile cruiser, something you want to keep for a long time, it's a smart, durable choice. It fits that Suzuki ethos.
It does. Okay, so they're tough batteries. Now I see two sizes available, a 49 kilowatt pack and a 61 kilowatt pack.
Correct.
Two options.
And this is where that HT Auto report from India really sheds some light on things. Because I think we're all used to picking our trim level leather seats, sunroof, and then picking our engine. But that is not how it works here, is it?
No, and this is a key clarity point. Looking at the Indian market structure, it's what we might call a trim lock.
Trim lock. Okay, break that down.
So there are three main variants, Delta, Zeta, and Alpha. You can't mix and match. If you buy the entry-level Delta variant, you are strictly getting the smaller 49 kilowatt battery, period. So wait, if I want the cheaper cloth interior but the long-range battery, I'm out of luck.
It appears so.
Yeah,
You can separate them. If you want the bigger 61 kilowatt battery, you have to step up to the mid-level Zeta or the top-tier Alpha variant. Those two only come with the larger pack.
That is strict. I mean, it simplifies manufacturing, I'm sure, but it really forces the consumer's hand. If you need range, you have to pay for the premium features.
It does.
So, speaking of range, what are we getting out of these packs?
On the global WLTP cycle, the smaller 49 kilowatt battery is estimated around 428 kilometers.
That's actually pretty decent for a base model.
It is. And for the larger battery, specifically looking at the Indian market estimates, they're promising more than 500 kilometers.
Now, we have to be careful there because testing cycles vary. The Indian one is a bit more optimistic.
It is. But generally speaking, you're looking at a car that can handle a week of commuting or a solid road trip without much anxiety. Okay, 500 clicks, or even a real-world 400 is a solid number. That puts it right in the mix. But let's talk about how it uses that power. Because this is a Suzuki, and I think affordable 4x4s. Does the e-Vitara actually drive all four wheels?
It does, but not on all models. And the performance difference between the two-wheel drive and the four-wheel drive versions is stark.
Walk us through the numbers.
So the standard setup is front-wheel drive. This is what you get with the small battery and some of the mid-tier versions.
And the power output on that.
With the small battery, you're looking at about 106 kilowatts, which is roughly 142 brake horsepower.
Oh.
If you get the bigger battery but stick with front-wheel drive, that bumps up to 128 kilowatts, or about 171 horsepower.
171 horsepower.
Right.
That's competent. It's not a performance car, but it's certainly peppy enough.
Exactly. It's sensible. The torque is around 190 newton meters, 0 to 100 in about 8.7 seconds. It's a very standard daily driver profile.
But then there's the AWD version.
Then there's the AWD version. This is the headline feature. They call it All-LGRIP. Is this just branding, or is the engineering actually different from a traditional 4x4?
It's mechanically fascinating. It completely abandons the old way. No drive shaft running down the center of the car. It's heavy. It takes up space.
So no physical connection?
None. It uses two independent axes, one motor on the front, one motor on the rear.
Just wires and software connecting them.
That's it. And that allows for incredible precision. But here is where it gets really interesting. The power jump. The AWD version puts out a total of 135 kilowatts, so about 184 horsepower.
That doesn't sound like a massive jump from 171. It's only about 13 extra ponies.
You're right. The horsepower isn't the big story. The story is the torque. The torque jumps from roughly 190 newton meters to a massive 300 newton meters.
Whoa, okay, now that feels significant, nearly doubling the torque.
It's huge. That's the shove you feel in your back.
Yeah.
It drops the 0-100 time down to 7.4 seconds. But more importantly, that torque is what gives you the grunt you need for off-roading.
Right, for pulling out of mud.
Precisely. And speaking of which, that adventure theme isn't just cosmetic. They've included a specific feature called trail mode.
How does that work? You usually need locking differentials for that.
So they simulate a limited slip differential, an LSD, using the brakes. Imagine one wheel is just spinning uselessly. The system detects that spin instantly.
And clamps the brake on that spinning wheel.
Yes. It breaks the spinning wheel, which forces the torque to the tire on the other side, the one that actually has grip. And because it's electric, The reaction time is infinitely faster than a mechanical system.
That is pretty cool. It's software acting as hardware.
That's the beauty of it. You
Yes.
can code your way out of a ditch.
Before we move on, charging. We have to talk charging. What are the speeds?
It supports DC fast charging. The global specs mention support for 150 kilowatts.
That's competitive, pretty standard.
It is. However, I did notice a discrepancy. The Indian report specifically mentions up to 70 kilowatt DC fast charging for their version.
That's a big difference, 150 versus 70.
It is. It might be a regional hardware difference, maybe heat management, or it could just be conservative reporting. But globally, 150 kilowatt is the target. And of course, it supports standard AC charging at home.
Okay, so we've got a car that can handle a trail, has decent range, and if you get the top trim plenty to torque, let's step inside. Is it all screens and lasers or more utilitarian?
The high-tech and adventure theme continues. You've got a very modern integrated display, one big panel for everything.
The monolith screen. Very trendy.
It is. Supports Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, the usual. But they've tried to keep it from feeling too delicate. The panels and the center console are designed to look tough.
Good.
It's not that high-gloss piano black that scratches if you look at it wrong. It feels like you could throw a backpack on the seat and not worry.
I hate when adventure cars have interiors you're afraid to touch. What about cargo space?
It's decent. The boot space is listed between 238 and 310 liters. Not a cargo van, but for a compact SUV, it's usable.
Now, let's zoom out. Where is this thing actually being built? Because Suzuki is Japanese, but we're talking a lot about India.
And that's a crucial piece of the puzzle. The e-Vitara is being produced at Suzuki Motor Gujarat in India.
So it's a global car, designed in Japan, but made in India.
Yes.
Yep.
Production starts spring 2025, and they are exporting it everywhere, Europe, Japan, and selling it domestically in India.
That's a massive vote of confidence in their Indian manufacturer.
It's huge and strategic. In India, this car is going head-to-head with Tata Motors.
Who basically own that market right now.
They do, with the Nexon EV and the Curve EV. Maruti Suzuki needs this car to work to reclaim its dominance there.
And what about in Europe?
In Europe, the base price is expected to be around 38,900 euros.
That's competitive.
It is. It's not bargain basement, but it's not luxury pricing either. It's right in the fat part of the market curve where real people buy cars.
President Suzuki called this a significant milestone.
He did. He noted that this is the first of a larger BEV lineup. The e-Vitara is the flagship for that electric future. It's a proof of concept that Suzuki can do electric without losing its soul.
So let's try to pull all this together.
That's
I'm seeing a dedicated EV platform, HardXD, which is a big deal. I'm seeing LFP batteries, which prioritize safety and longevity.
And that very specific hierarchy of trims delta, zeta, alpha that dictates your battery size, buyers need to watch out for that.
Right. And then the emotional part comes from the design, but the versatile part really comes from that Ultra PE system. It's not just a city car.
It has legitimate trail aspirations, backed up by that 300 newton meters of torque and the brake LSD system.
Yeah.
It's trying to be the car that can navigate a crowded street on a Tuesday and a muddy track on a Saturday.
Which brings us to our final thought. The automotive world right now feels split. On one side, you have these high-tech living rooms on wheels.
Yeah, all about isolating you from the road.
And on the other, you have this resurgence of rugged, boxy utility vehicles. You're either a spaceship or a tank.
It's a very polarized landscape.
So the question is, does the e-Vitara successfully bridge that gap with its high-tech and adventure theme? Or is it trying to do too much at once? Is it a jack of all trades in a good way, or is it a master of none?
That is the question the market will answer in summer 2025. But I think for a lot of people who want an EV but don't want to feel like they're driving a delicate gadget, this approach might be exactly what they're waiting for.
It's definitely one to watch. We are going to wrap it up there. But before we go, we have to say a massive, sincere thank you to you, the listener.
Yes, absolutely. We know how busy everyone is.
We know you have a million things fighting for your attention. The fact that you chose to spend this time with us to geek out over battery chemistries and e-axles and torque figures, it really means the world to us.
It really does. We love doing this research, but it's only meaningful because you're here to listen to it and share that curiosity with us. So thank you for your time.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for being part of the deep dive. We'll catch you on the next one.
Bye for now.